You are listening to the Pompette podcast, the edutainment podcast about lifestyle, wine, and spirits, hosted by Yolanda Shoshana. Let's get this party started. Hey, it's Yolanda Shoshana. Thank you so much for tuning into the Pompette podcast. I love having you here. Now, did you know that it is Idaho Wine Month? Oh yes, I said Idaho. Idaho Wine Month is June, every June. Now, some of you may be giving me a side eye, maybe even scratching your head and thinking, Idaho has wine? Idaho? Well, of course Idaho has wine. At this point, probably every state in the USA is making their own wine, but the important thing, the thing to know, the thing to remember is that Idaho is making some pretty damn good wine. I was just there for a press trip, which I'll tell you a little bit more about, but before I do, I just want to give you some information. While Idaho is thought of as one of the newer wine regions, they've been planting grapes there since 1860s. So wine is not a new concept for them. They're really close to Washington, and if you know anything about wine in the USA, you know that Washington is putting their foot in it and making some damn good wine too. So think of Idaho as similar regions, similar stuff going on, and good for planting grapes. The Snake River Valley region of Idaho is probably one of the best known. Recently, Wine Enthusiast magazine declared it a great place to have a destination wedding, which I'm gonna agree because it's really beautiful in Idaho. I was not expecting all the beauty. There are 4 AVAs. There's the Eagle Foothills, the Lewis-Clark Valley, yes, named after that Lewis and Clark because they did an expedition. Who knew? I guess if you're a history buff, you knew, but I did not know. And then you have the Snake River Valley, which I mentioned, and Columbia Valley, Washington, which is like the border of Idaho, and they are sharing that area with Washington. As I said, I had the pleasure of being invited on a press trip. I got to spend some time in the Lewis-Clark Valley area. Beautiful, serene, gorgeous, green. Loved it. What I loved about it is how excited the winemakers are and how laid back they are. It's a region that would be great for those of you who want to try different wine, and maybe if you are newer to wine, because I know a lot of people love going to Napa and Sonoma, but it frightens some people because you think you have to know a lot about wine. It's a little more highbrow. Wine costs more money, and, quite frankly, it's because they decided to charge that much. Some of it is definitely worth it, but not all of it is. So, if you want more of a laid-back wine region, but beautiful at the same time, Idaho is going to be a place where you want to spend your quality time. Also, what I love is that women winemakers are like everywhere. It's wonderful. They're like dominating the area. It's nice to see. We definitely have more women winemakers all over the world, but this area seems very special in particular. Like, the women are killing it and nobody's batting an eye about it, and we need to make sure we celebrate these women. So, some of the wineries I got to try that stuck out were from Vine 46. Got to meet the winemakers, Jeff and Mike. Jeff is a hoot. He's the chattier one, while Mike kind of he's the silent type. But they're making some really good reds. They are a newer winery, but their wine is spot on. So be on the lookout for them. Then I got to have dinner at Coulter's Creek Tasting Room, and that was lovely, and I met Melissa and Jeff, and their rosé though. Woo! It's aromatic, it's just beautiful. It definitely can stand up to all the other rosés out there. Just a delightful wine, beautiful packaging, lovely tasting room. They have 2. One's in Julietta, and I think the other one's in Moscow. I may be saying that wrong, but I believe that's where their other tasting room is. And then we went to Clearwater Canyon Cellars, and we met Coco and Carl. Lovely couple. Coco is a little spitfire. She reminds me of a New York type. A lot of energy and kind of feisty, which I loved about her. They're making some wonderful wine on their farm, and just they have this Albarino that's delicious. The reds are great. Interesting Chardonnay, just wonderful. All of these wines really stood out. Then we went to Coeur d'Alene, which is this lovely town that has this awesome resort, the Coeur d'Alene Resort, which I'm in love with and I have to go back. They do a food and wine event. I'm not exactly sure when it is, but they do it. They're going to be doing it annually, and I will let you all know once I find that information. But they have a restaurant called Beverly's. You can get Idaho wine there, but their wine list is so extensive. They've got wine from all over the world. So if you go and want to explore Idaho wine, but then you're like, oh, but I want to try this and I want to try that from all over, Beverly's is the way to go, and it's got this beautiful, gorgeous view. And that's also near some wineries. So, in reality, I think that a great wine trip would be going to Spokane. I stayed in Spokane the first night I was there. I've never been to Spokane. They have wine. You're going to get Washington wines, and there's going to be some Idaho wine you can try as well on some of those lists. You go to Spokane, you try some Washington wines, and then you make your way to Idaho. That would be such a great little wine trip. If you want to do the family thing though and do wine tasting from there, you go to Spokane and then you make your way to Idaho to a resort or somewhere. Then you've got, all types of water sports you can do, horseback riding, all types of things that you're going to be able to do with the family if you want to take a family trip. It's just beautiful, serene, and it's cost effective. Like, it won't break the budget like some of these other trips will, so I highly recommend it. If you do want to try Idaho wine though, you're going to probably have to go to Idaho for most of it. The good news though is two of the wineries I mentioned, they do ship out of state. Coldwater Canyon and Coulter's Creek. Not Coldwater Canyon, Clearwater Canyon, my bad. And Coulter's Creek, they ship out of state. They ship to like California, Texas, Montana, New York. So go on their websites and see if they ship to your area, if it's something that you want to try. I highly recommend trying them. They make some really good wine. And, I will be putting reviews of most of the wines that I tried on my Vivino page. I'm an expert and tastemaker on Vivino. So if you are thinking of ordering some of the wines, I'll let you know what I tried, what I liked, what I didn't like about the wine. You can find that information on Vivino. But don't sleep on Idaho wine. It's definitely worth your time. They're doing something interesting, and it's a great little place to go back and visit. I didn't know what to expect. I just went open-minded. I loved all the green and just seeing, these beautiful houses out in these beautiful areas. Something I don't see much of living in the urban jungle of New York City, but I really appreciated it. And I will go back. I would happily go back to Idaho. I hear Boise is popping. I have not been to Boise. That's next on my list to make my way there and see what I would be able to check out. But don't forget, June is Idaho Wine Month. If it's not June when you listen to the show, it's all good. You can still have your Idaho wine. Just make sure you try it if you have the opportunity, because it just may surprise you. Don't forget to sign up for my newsletter, Pompette. Stop by awitchintheworld.com for more wine and spirit information. And until next time, peace, love, and cheers.